Good afternoon, and welcome to Everybody, the podcast which shares stories that highlight people in life that make the world an interesting place, which ultimately ties us all together in unique and wonderful ways. And who am I, you might ask? I would be the head wrap socialite, wife, mom, micro influencer in the fashion and etiquette world. But on this podcast, I will be introducing you to some people who I've had the opportunity to meet along my journey, who have helped enrich me in my life in beautiful ways, and who I hope will do the same in yours.
I remember one time I went to the barber shop
Mm-hmm.
and this barber cut all my hair off my head,
Uh-huh.
bald head, right?
Right.
And I went back home, I cried, but he cut all my hair up on my head.
Right.
And I was up on the third floor, and my brother Richie came.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me what's wrong with me. And I told him this barber cut all my hair off.
Mm-hmm.
We said, that's okay, I'll go up there and take care of him. Rich would have like to kill him now.
Oh my gosh.
Rich was mean.
I have the incredible privilege of sitting down with a true living treasure, an encyclopedia of history, my grandfather, Frank Dinkins. Join me as I delve into the remarkable life of a man who has witnessed the world evolve and transform over the course of his 95 years. He has lived through pivotal moments, cultural shifts, and monumental events that have shaped the fabric of our society. Please join me in welcoming my grandfather, also known as Pop Pop, Frank Dinkins.
Hi, Trina.
Hey, Pop. Thank you for being here.
Okay.
Pop, can you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are?
I was born in Culpeper, Virginia, February 28, 1928.
How many brothers and sisters, Pop, did you have?
16.
16?
Yeah.
Where did you fall in the lineup of children? Like in the middle, were you the baby?
What was the last one? When I was born, everybody was gone, since three of us. Chester, Eddie, Minnie.
Can you name all of your siblings? Who was the oldest to the youngest?
My brother's name is Clarence, Jim, Richard, Lawrence,
Mm-hmm.
Junior, the name Madison, Willie, Calvin, Eddie, Chester. My sister's name was Maple, Earlina, Minnie, Fanny, Beatrice. I had a brother that, Haywood was born. He died when he was a baby.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know him. He was next to the oldest one, I guess.
So tell me a little bit about your life. Tell me how it was growing up in Culpeper, Virginia.
I had to get up in the morning early, feed the chicken,
Mm-hmm.
feed the hogs,
Mm-hmm.
milk the cows.
Mm-hmm. How did you come to the North, Pop, from living in the South?
Oh, my father, he had a pimple on his face.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he shaved, he cut this pimple. At that time, they didn't know it was cancer.
Mm.
They removed it to the doctor in Germantown. They couldn't find out what's wrong with him. But time we went back to Culpeper, he had lost the eye, and you could pick him up and the pin tear off his back when you did it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time when I started back to school in Culpeper.
How old were you, Pop?
Around 9 or 10, something like that.
When you came to go to the doctors, you were 9 years old, so you had to stop school.
No, when I went back to Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
I went to school. I had to get up, feed the chicken, all the animals on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
The little farm we had. Dave, my father, he didn't let nobody bathe him but me. And when I bathed him, the skin peeled off his back and everything. I had to go to school, get the water, because all us was in a one-room classroom.
How many students do you think there were, Pop?
Oh, I don't exactly know, but it was but 6th grade altogether. And this one teacher taught all of us.
Wow, she taught everybody from kindergarten all the way up through high school.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wow.
They didn't have kindergarten. They started first grade.
Wow. Pop, what was some of your favorite classes?
I think it was biology. And I used to work in the workshop.
What did you used to do in the workshop?
I made furniture for my mother, coffee table.
It's funny, like I've never knew that about you, Pop. I never knew that. But I do know that you love to do woodworking at your house. I remember the hutch that you had. You might even still have it in the kitchen. And you made the legs on the hutch longer.
Yeah.
But I never knew you liked to woodwork.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But when I started, I was about 16, I started working at a sawmill, cutting trees down, breaking horses.
How did you break horses? What was that like?
Oh, yeah, you try to hold them, but most time they jump up, they kick and everything. I know when one time I was working in the sawmill and I was hooking a mule up to the log, and he kicked me in the rear.
Oh my goodness.
Because he didn't want to go work. I thought I get.
So did you break any ribs, Pop?
No. If I did, I didn't know it.
Right. So you worked in the sawmill, you worked on your farm, and then what other places did you work?
That's what all I worked at.
Did you want to stay in the South once you got to be older?
No, I didn't.
How come, Pop?
Because there were two races down there. Segregated.
So tell me about growing up in segregation.
Oh, it was rough growing up. After I got teenager, it was rough. But when I was young, I didn't go in the place. You couldn't walk down the street. You had certain places to walk. Restaurant had to eat in the kitchen.
Wow.
They used to call, the N-word and everything. I knew I didn't want to stay in the South because I thought they may kill me or something. So I didn't take too much stuff off Tufa. You were your own
man, Pop. You wouldn't take too much stuff from anybody.
You got that right.
And I think too, Pop, like that's what you instilled in all of us, not to take any nonsense from anybody.
Because when Chester went into the service and came out of the service, he stayed with me and he told me what to do. If anybody say anything to you wrong, you fight them. I remember one time they had a carnival in Cultural, and this girl, white girl, was doing the snake dance. And my brother Chester said, if you're using that by yourself, I'll come in there. Three white boys came up to ask him what say the N-word. What was he talking about? And my brother Chester looked at me, what are we going to do? We got to fight him. So Chester hit one, and I hit one. But we had to run after him. Because they had caught, I guess, they would have killed.
So you guys just ran, and then you just didn't stop running.
Yeah, we ran. It was 7 miles from my house. We run and walk the 7 miles. And our sister said, they're not going to take us alive.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. It was such a racial divide there that you had no choice as Black men and Black women but to do what you had to do to survive.
Yeah, you had to fight.
That was the only way you would come out alive, really.
Yeah, when I first started going around white people, when I went into the Marine Corps, and that was back in 1952, they were segregating their armed force. And if I got in the Marine Corps, they still didn't, some of them didn't treat you right.
Wow. And you were giving your life really for the country, and you still weren't treated with dignity or respect a lot of the time.
Yes.
How did you stay in it, Pop, even though people didn't treat you right? What made you keep going?
I stayed in the military 2 years. Then I got out of the military, and I told my cousin I wasn't going to stay in Cuffo because I would have to kill somebody. So I left and came to Pennsylvania. And I worked here for a while. And this year, white man put me down a hole to run a jackhammer. And I told him I wasn't going to run no jackhammer because they didn't have the wall built up. So I came up told him what to do with this jackhammer. And I went back down to North Philly, signed up for the Marine Corps again for 3 years.
Wow, Pop. When you were in the Marines, where did you go?
I was in North Carolina, South Carolina, New Hampshire, and when I got discharged, I was in Quantico, Virginia. That was like 20 miles from where I lived.
Did you ever think that's where life would take you, Pop? Did you ever think you would be in the military?
Yes, I would rather stay in the military. I volunteered to go during the Korean War. I volunteered 3 times.
Wow.
Go to Korea. But they wouldn't send me because I had 3 brothers over there, Calvin, Eddie, and Chester. And they wouldn't send me.
So what did you do during that time when Uncle Calvin and Uncle Chester, what did you do while they were over in Korea?
I was in the Marine Corps then.
Okay.
My father had died.
Okay.
And I left my mother in Virginia.
Mm.
And I told her I didn't want her to stay in there by herself. So we moved her to Philly.
Wow. So she moved to Philly, Pop.
Yeah, we moved to Willow Grove. We stayed behind over in the Heights
Okay.
for so many months. And then we moved down Germantown.
Okay.
Then we moved back to Virginia.
Oh, I didn't even know that, Pop. I didn't know you lived in the Heights.
Yeah. You know where Lyndon went to church at?
Yep.
We live right across the street from there.
Oh, my goodness, Pop. I never knew that.
Yeah, no, they were segregated in.
Wow.
Yeah, where we lived, there were nothing but black people.
Right. When I was born, I remember in your neighborhood, it was just predominantly all Black people.
Yes, they were all black people in Crestwell. And it wasn't research moved they when I got to the Marine Corps, they still were segregated in Pennsylvania. They call you some names and everything.
But you still survived, Pop.
Yeah, it was hard though, but I don't know how.
I say it's the will of the ancestors. You did it. You survived. You know, you brought up your family and you took care of what you needed to take care of so that they would have a good life, so that we would all have a good life.
Yeah, when we first came to Philly, my mother's brother, he was a policeman in Crestwell, but he couldn't even read or write.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, how he made policeman, but he was.
So he was a policeman in Crestmont.
Yeah, And then Pop Turkey was the first one. Then Jamie brother-in-law was the second one. And Liz's nephew was the third one. That was before I came back up here.
Wow, Pop. I will tell the listeners, brothers that I knew growing up, they were all amazing. My grandfather's sisters that I knew, they were amazing too. My Aunt B, she lived to, how old was Aunt B? She was 100?
Just me?
Yeah.
She was 101 when she died. And I told her I was going to live with her. I want to live back get 102. But now, it don't look like.
No, Pop, don't say that. Pop, you're going to make it. I know you are. Because I remember when we were over at Aunt B's house and she had her birthday party. And I remember you told Aunt B, you said that like if she made it to 101, you have to make it to 102.
Yeah. She took care of me when I was a baby.
So, Pop, can you tell me about when you first met Nan?
Oh, I came with the Marine Corps. I met Liz's brother. He was in the airport. We became best friends. And every time we go in this bar, Liz and her girlfriend would be standing across the street. And Liz was too young to go in the bar. Trying to stop going with me. But she would stay at the side of the bar, wait for me till I come out of the bar. Yeah. She was a nice looking girl on the corner. That's the one I picked. Most all of them was after me.
But you fell in love with Nan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell the story, Pop. What was Nan wearing?
Dungaree and a baseball cap. She wore the baseball cap turned backwards all the time.
I love that.
Yeah, when she kept me out of trouble, I would have guessed it wouldn't be living with for her.
Nan and you made a good team, for sure, Pop. If you could give a piece of advice to those young people who are coming out, what would the piece of advice be?
They shouldn't even be guns or all that. They should respect people. Because if I was growing up like I would respect you. We don't respect old people.
Right.
They kids do it now. They respect parents.
It's a different time. It's like, I remember when, growing up and your friends would come over to your house, we would never call them by their first name ever.
No. I know they called people by their first name. Everything was Mr. Me.
Yeah, always.
Yes. When I was growing up in the South, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and yes, sir.
Right, Pop. It's like nowadays, it's like I think we lost a lot of that with, it's like a lot of, kids call the parents by the first names. Even now, if I see someone who's older than me, out of respect, I want to say Miss whoever or Mr. whoever, because that's how I grew up.
Yeah, because Molly used to teach me. Hot mother.
Yeah, yeah. A few weeks ago, I had Hortense on the podcast, and she said, if you want to talk to somebody, she goes, you should talk to your grandfather, because she said your grandfather has so many stories.
Yeah. I know that Molly had a birthday party in Virginia. So I went down to the church when they were standing, make her stand up in church, and she had no legs then. Pull up in the front. She hollered, all my kids I taught in school, stand up. And she got tried to stand up. She looked back in and saw me, stand up, Frank Bacon. I don't, Frank Bacon used to go to Sunday school. She used to be the president of Sunday school. Now, I don't know what he doing up in Pennsylvania. Everybody busted and laughed. Her husband was crazy with me.
Oh, that's good, Pop. Wait, Pop. You were the president of Sunday school? Pop, when did you were the president?
When they had Bible class at night, I was the president, and Cousin Lena, she was the secretary.
Oh my goodness, Pop. I would have liked to be in your Bible class, Pop.
Yeah, we had fun in there.
I know you did. But I remember, Pop, when you were the bus driver at Temple University. Yeah, when you were the bus driver. And I remember my favorite thing would be when you would come and pick me up when I was little. I was probably like 5, 6, or 7, could be 8. But you would pass the house and you would pick me up and you would take me on a ride on the school bus. I was so happy.
When I first started working, you used to go down to school with me.
Yeah, Pop. And then you would take me to the meat market and I would get a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
You would let me choose like a Slim Jim. I was so happy. And I remember you would pick me up and you would say, you could sit anywhere on the bus. I would run down the little aisle. And I remember you would go over the bumps and I would be like, wee! We had good times, Pop. But I just want to say, though, Pop, for all the listeners who are listening to this podcast, you've always been my hero. Thank you, Pop. Thank you for taking this time out to talk with me today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pop.
Okay, I love you too.
Talk to you
coming
soon.
down this summer?
Yes, we're going to come down this summer, Pop.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to come down this summer for sure.
I went to the Marine Corps. I was down in North Carolina. I couldn't swim. So they make me go to swimming every Friday.
Right.
Everybody else go on Liberty. I'd be just trying to swim. So this black boy from Chile, me and him could pass for twins. But he had a gold tooth, that's all he could tell us.
Right.
And he took the swimming test on me.
Oh,
and I didn't have to go anymore.